tell Stetson's story is the next best thing to being able to talk to him in person. And you are giving me that opportunity this morning, so I'm very grateful. Stetson Kennedy was one of 5 children, the eldest. You see Stetson there on the, well, you see a bit of Stetson on the right up there. He was the eldest of 4 children in the family of George and Mary Stetson. Stetson's grandfather fought for the Confederacy. His mother was the genealogist for the DAR and was the president of the United Daughters of the Confederacy. Her brother was the Grand Titan of the Punta Gorda Clan. And so Stetson grew up in a family that certainly had both the sympathies and the heritage of a very conservative Southern family. He grew up in this house. It still stands in the Avondale section of Jacksonville. Stetson had his first act of civil activism in high school. Back in the 20s and 30s, high school fraternities were a big deal. At Edison High School, there were no fraternities that would admit Jews. Anti-Semitism was an accepted way of life in the 30s. So Stetson found a national fraternity that would accept Jews. And I'm happy to say in the back room of my house I have a copy of the charter. So his first act of activism was to find a solution and do something about it. Stetson's first published work was a story about this man. He was called Isleño, which is Spanish for islander. Isleño was warned by the Klan that he should get rid of his mixed-race wife. And he refused to do that. So the Klan beat him up. He could recognize who his assailants were. So he got a gun and shot one dead. Whereupon Isleño was brutally tortured and lynched by the Klan. Stetson wrote an article called "Here Hung Isleño for Living with a Brown." It was not only published in Spanish in Havana, but it caught the eye of Erskine Caldwell, the author. Erskine Caldwell was called upon to edit what was called the Folkways series of books, which were books about the South, and it was Erskine Caldwell. As a result of this article, this is the letter from Erskine Caldwell that alerting Stetson to a working relationship that they would have for years. Stetson thought that the African American folklore and the expose of social injustice against African Americans in Florida was going to be included in the guide. It wasn't. They all went out to dinner and the other editors came in and basically took all that material out. So he put it into his book, Palmetto Country. Palmetto Country includes stories of African American folk heroes. Did you know there are some? Uncle Mundy, who was a shapeshifter, or Daddy Minchin, who is a trickster that was able to get himself out of a Polk County prison camp. It also contains the people's history of Florida. Stetson believed that the history people told was more accurate than what he called the tyranny of the footnote. If anything, Stetson Kennedy had 2 great enemies, the Klan and J. Edgar Hoover. His experiences in the Klan are in this book, The Klan Unmasked. It includes not only his experiences, but experiences of another Klansman whom he had sworn not to identify. And so it was taken as his biography, when in fact it was simply an expose that he hoped would let people see the absurdity of these rituals and the violence of the Klan's action. During World War II, the Superman comic strip was a fabulous instrument of propaganda, of reminding people of truth, justice, and the American way. And so there was a Superman radio show for Sartre. But it was Sartre who first published Stetson's book about Jim Crow Guide. This is a sarcastic piece. It had been originally, he was supposed to publish it with Doubleday. When he met with the editor in New York, the editor said, the tone is irreverent. You know, bet your life. But what this was a compendium of all the local state laws that would deny one group of people what the rest of America could enjoy. Whether it was who you could marry, where you could eat, where you could find lodging, you know, where you would be prohibited, where there were sundown towns or sundown counties where African Americans were told you should not be here after sundown. Stetson Kennedy. Well, I want to share, when he would talk to young people, they would ask him, Mr. Kennedy, what advice do you have for young people? And Stetson would say to them, pick a cause and stick to it. But if you want a good, long life, be sure it's a good cause. Now, some of you in this room knew Stetson. I believe I can say without fear of contradiction that anybody that knew him believed that he lived long and he lived strong because he lived on purpose. Most of us, when we confront something that we think needs to be remedied, we either don't think we have the authority or that we have the capability to do it. That never bothered Stetson. And finally, you need to let the public know about it. You need to make it widely known. You need to use social media or anything else at your command, even if it's the Superman radio show, to make the change that you need. That is Stetson's real legacy. Thank you very much.